What's good, people? It's Saturday, not morning, but early afternoon. Uh, you know what it is. It's your boy, Uncle Fred, long here with my sidekick, my boy, TK. And you know what we come here to do. We come to give you some perspective on what we saw Sunday, last Saturday, last Sunday, and and then preview and predict what's going to happen today and tomorrow and Monday. It's the Super Wild Card Weekend Pick'em show. Hey man, TK, how you doing, man?
Go, man. We got games spread across the weekend, so that's good for us. Get a chance
Yeah,
to check in on every team that's involved in the big playoffs, and I like that aspect of things. We had some games already as far as on the college side the past couple of days. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, man,
Go hit
yeah,
that in a
man,
minute
games
too.
that really count. These are
Yeah.
the ones. These are the legacy makers.
All right. All right. For those that may be watching and about to watch, please like, comment, and subscribe to the Uncle Fred Sports Experience. Guarantee you will not be disappointed. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. So before we get into our, I feel like I was about to sneeze, man. I was trying to wave it off, man. Um, before we get into our uh, predictions for Wild Card Weekend, I understand we got 2 games today, 3 games tomorrow, and a game on Monday night in the Wild Card round. Before we get into that, man, any games that stuck out to you in the Week 18 season wrap up? Any games that stuck out to you? Any developments that stuck out to you? Um, Something you saw that you like, wow, that really just happened, you know?
No, I mean it was only one game that you know had major implications and several sprinkled in. But kind of once we got to Sunday, it was kind of clear where everything stood. So it was just that Lions Vikings game on the Sunday night till uh, I loved it, man. I loved the game. I know we both felt like Minnesota was going to come out on top. Lions did their stuff, man, and they did what they needed to do. And now, they sitting pretty. They'll be hosting everybody from Ford Field. And the Vikings get to travel to what's likely to be Arizona now due to circumstances going on out there. And, you know, as far as if we're just talking about football, I mean, a relocation definitely favors, Minnesota in that regard. Just sort of takes away a element of advantage that theoretically the Rams would have had. So um, maybe, again, if we're just talking football and not real life, um, maybe there's some type of balance in that, considering the Vikings are a 14-win team. So you know,
Yes.
you know, but we'll see. We'll see when the game gets played on Monday night. But just as far as Week 18, man, just seeing how that game played out, that was like the one game that really stuck out as far as what would happen. Everything else was just kind of, just watching football type stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, man. There's a couple of things, and we're gonna go and get into our thing. There's a couple of things that I saw last week that were like, okay. First one being, we kind of felt like the Saints would just lay down to the Buccaneers so that the Falcons wouldn't win the NFC South. But dang, what happened? They came out and jumped all over Tampa Bay, and really, Tampa Bay had to fight, claw, scratch, bite, kick to get that win. And I was happy that they gave Mike Evans that little thing at the end. That was class, man. I was like, get that dude that. That dude has earned it. I love me some Mike Evans. As a receiver, I love me some Mike Evans, man. Dude's a consummate professional. Just goes out, does his job with his Hall of Fame career self. He just do his thing, man. And a process did something ain't nobody other than Jerry Rice. So like 11 years with 1,000 yards and whatever, and they gave him that. And that got him like a $3 million bonus or whatever. And a lot of times teams are like trying to find out ways to like not get you that, like what we did with Cooper Rush. Nah, we ain't gonna start you there and not give you $500,000, which that's another story. Um, you know, it's so you had that going. Yeah, there was an incident in that game. Me and my son was laughing about it because it was funny. Uh, it was, I think it was on the game because I think they got a touchdown to go ahead. And so on that particular drive, I remember Baker Mayfield running for a first down and kind of, giving a little first down signal and saying a little
Mhm.
like Baker do. He do that. He got that little edge to him like that. And of
Yeah.
course, some of the Saints players was like, "Yo, bro, what are you doing?" And so his players take up for him, like, "No, you can't be pushing our quarterback." And so in the process, there's some back and forth, and then there's about 15 players get into like a little melee, and Baker just walks off to the huddle. I'm like, "Dude, you just started the fire. You just walked the heck off." It was the funniest thing. I'm sitting there cracking up, man. He just whole fight going on behind him. He just walks away from it, and he's the one that started it. I correlate that to, you started the fire, and, you set the thing, and the whole neighborhood going up, just walk away like you ain't do nothing. It's the funniest thing. You might go back and find that because it's funny. It was funny to me when I saw it live. I was like, dang, Baker just walked off, and the offensive line, receivers and stuff, all in there fighting, pushing and shoving. He just walked away. Like, yeah, like I ain't just start that, whatever. But yeah, they end up winning that, and then the Falcons pissing on themselves because the whole time when the Buccaneers was getting clobbered, they should have been handling their business. Oh shoot, we got a shot. Let's get this. And no, they let the dadgum Panthers walk all over them, and they lost it in overtime. So those were the things. And of course, like you talked about the Vikings game and the Lions, that looked like it was going to be a defensive game. But man, Ben Johnson, the Detroit Lions figured out something in the second
No
half.
good. Yeah.
Jameer Gibbs,
Open
uh,
up.
ain't no linebacker covering that dude out the backfield or anything like that. You're not covering him, and they figured out, oh man, we can just get that guy, and then they had no answers for that. So, and Kevin McConnell and Wes Phillips, that's their offensive coordinator, didn't do the same thing, and they ended up letting Sam Darnold kind of get exposed. He kind of did. He kind of like, yeah, the thing kind of moving a little too fast for him. It was good. It was coming from areas he wasn't expecting, and he kind of crumbled under the pressure, man, and under the, and maybe that's kind of who Sam is, and maybe he's been propped up all year, and then when you pull away the scaffolding, maybe he just falls over. I don't know. But anyway, before we get into our thing, but I think there's some poetic justice in the movement of the game. Prayers up to those families that lost homes and lost their livelihoods and things of that nature in the wildfires or whatever you want to call them, fires in Los Angeles, whatever, that's displaced thousands of people, and they've made the game get moved to Glendale, Arizona, which makes it, because we had said it seemed weird that a team to win 14 games don't get a home game. So now the home advantage that the Rams have, whatever that might be, because they're really, when the Rams have games, there'll be as many fans for the other team as it be for them. But, at least they don't really actually get a home game. This is almost like a neutral site game. So, maybe there's some poetic justice in there, right and the wrong, which I had thought about. But the Lions won that. They looked dominant in that, and they're the number one seed. And then It's just talk that David Montgomery might be back for the second round game. I don't know, but hey, man, if they get to the Super Bowl, Aiden Hutchinson might be back. And I'm like, hey, calm down, calm down with that, calm down with that. But anyway, man, that's about all my you know echoes or whatever from the last week in the NFL season. So let's get into it. Let's get into the wild card games this week. The last thing from the week last week, both TK and myself both went 12-4.
Take that.
Both missed a couple of games, but we also I got right the Titans Jaguars game that he missed, and he got right the um, Patriots Bills game that I missed. And so, but the other games we kind of missed together. So we end up being 12-4 at the same time. So that's not bad. We can't crap on that. 12-4 is good, man. So let's get into it, man. First game that we're gonna talk about today is going to be a game 3 o'clock this afternoon, 3:30. More uh, correctly here, 3:30 p.m. You got the Los Angeles Chargers traveling to Houston to take on the Houston Texans. CBS Paramount Plus will have that game. Uh, TK, what are your thoughts on that game?
Um, it's
Interesting game to call, ain't it?
yeah. Well, it's show and prove time for CJ Stroud, man. So you're hosting a playoff game today to get everything started, get the festivities started. In comes a Chargers team that's been gritty and tough all year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they do a lot of things well defensively that the Texans do well defensively, and frankly, as far as quarterback, I think it's pretty head to head, even kill, even matchup. I do think the Chargers would like to establish the run, but they can also always depend on or lean into. If we got to open it up a little bit, we got Justin Herbert. We don't, you know, just because we may limit the game plan and he may seem like a game manager at times doesn't mean he doesn't have the ability to open up the playbook and go get us big plays when we need it. So them having that type of versatility to me lends well to them coming into this game. It's kind of like they can just try and see what type of tone the Texans want to establish, as far as what style of play the Texans want to get into. I would assume with the rash of injuries the Texans have seen to their receiving core this year, I would think they would sort of try to lean into Joe Mixon and try to, fight power with power and establish the trenches. And this is one of those games, man. I think it's pretty close, potentially lower scoring than some may assume. Um, may come down to like a field goal or a late score, uh, kind of like maybe like a 23-20 type of game, 23-17 type of game.
Mm-hmm.
And I would hope CJ Stroud and the Texans are able to get that done at home because they kind of need to do that, need to show that they're on that type of trajectory with CJ. But if we know anything, we know Jim Harbaugh is going to have the Chargers ready and prepared. And this was like the toss up game for me because I'm pretty set on the other ones, and this one is kind of where I'm like, I'll go. Oh boy, because when we only doing 6 games, I kind of want to get all 6 right. So it's like, I'm really on the fence with this one, man. But I'll go home team, Houston.
Okay. All right. All right. I mean, that's good analysis, man. That's good analysis, man. Which I don't expect nothing less from TK. He always looks at things very analytical, very, very effective, very efficient, and all of that stuff that he's doing. So I don't expect anything less in that regard. And he said something that I'm going to piggyback on. I'm going to go ahead and give my prediction. We're going to go on to the next game. It's definitely a show and prove game, not only for CJ Stroud. It's a show and prove game for Justin Herbert because this week in his last game in the NFL in the season, he eclipsed I think like 21,000 yards, which is the most in a 5-year period that anybody's ever played the NFL position at quarterback. Eclipsing the illustrious Peyton Manning, one of my favorites, one of my guys, one of my goats.
Yeah,
Um, and so with that being said, he's kind of like not got to the playoffs, but like one other time in his career, and he lost that game. And it's a guy that's been handed, 52, $53 million, and you got to show and prove. And of course, now CJ Stroud needs to show and prove, to show that what happened last year and when, the offensive rookie of the year and all that stuff that he did. And I believe that's still in him. But he has not had a good season this year compared to what has happened last year. Some of that's attributed to the injuries, injuries to Nico Collins, injuries to Diggs, and some other things, some injuries and other things in the offensive line. There's been some things and some sacks have been taken, and all those things have taken them out of their offense and things of that nature. Some of that may be attributed to teams getting a read on what he does, getting film on him. A lot of those things are pertinent. And so he gets a chance to with a clean slate. Everybody's at 0-0, okay? And we got an opportunity to fix all those things that went wrong down the stretch in the season. So I look at that as an opportunity. Now I look on the injury report here, which I'll pull up here. I got it right here. So Josh Palmer is a receiver because I know that's one of the guys that the Chargers look to in addition to what's the other kid's name? Lad McConkey. His guy's gonna be out, questionable. J.K. Dobbins. Now, interesting enough that the Chargers signed one Ezekiel Elliott for their practice squad from the Cowboys. And I don't know if they elevated him to the 53 with J.K. Dobbins being questionable. I would think that you would put him on the active roster so you'd have enough capable backs to run it because Harbaugh wants to run the football, wants to establish that tough man kind of thing. We want to win in between the trenches here. Quentin Johnson is actually questionable with a groin and illness. That's another guy that in this regime has started to, which some people have thought he was a bust. When Harbaugh has started to use him, you start to see him kind of figure some things out. So him being somewhat limited is sort of, no real Shaq Mason, offensive lineman Shaq Mason is out with a knee, and John Mechie is questionable, and those are some interesting ones. You put all that in there. This is one of the harder ones to pick, in my opinion, just like you said, because they're kind of evenly matched. I think what are the Texans? 10-7, 11-6, and I think that's what the Chargers end up being, something like that. So, I think if you don't win this game, if you Justin Herbert, when you gonna win when you gonna win a playoff game? I'd like to pick the Texans, but I got to go with the Chargers. So I guess this will be the first. What did I do with that? I had my boxing ring thing. Where is it at? I guess we're gonna fight on that one. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, here we go. If it'll sound it for me, it ain't sounding. Okay. All right. We'll maybe not worry about that then because it's not doing it. Whatever. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chargers. And like I said, I would not be surprised if Houston ends up winning that because I just think they're evenly matched. I think Houston's defense is good as well. I think that's actually what's been carrying them down the stretch. They're Danielle Hunter up front, and um, if Al Shazier's, I think he's playing. I know he got suspended at the linebacker spot, and then of course in the backfield you got the newly minted Pro Bowl going Derek Stingley. You know, so I mean they got players on defense, so that's it's gonna be a hard hitting game. And but I got the Chargers winning it, and we'll just see. And I think it's gonna be like you said, 23-17. Not going to be no runaway. It's going to be a game. It's going to be competitive. Going to be a lot of good hitting, a lot of good fundamental, good football played. Going to be probably one of the best games of the weekend. So he's got the Texans. I got the Chargers. Let's just see. All right.
Yep.
All right, man. Second game of the day, about 3:30, 7 o'clock this evening on Prime Video. What's his face? Jeff. Gonna get his money, I guess, off of this one. What's the owner of Amazon?
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos. I couldn't think of his last name. Will get his money from this one. You got the Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to TI Bank Field to take on the Baltimore Ravens in a first round wild card. You can't make this stuff up. Two teams that respect each other but don't like each other in the same division. Always have fought. Always have been one of the more physical, passionate rivalries in all of the NFL. And we get that this evening at 7 o'clock on Prime Video for everybody to see. Some interesting thing going on with that particular game is um, the Ravens come in with some injuries. More specifically, and I think this is one that you got to really look at. Zay Flowers, their newly minted Pro Bowl wide receiver, is out for this game. I saw him go down in the season finale with the Browns, and I'm like, "Ooh, I hope that ain't serious. They're gonna need him going forward." He's their best receiver. He's dynamic. I mean, he kind of opens that thing up, and of course now with him being out, that kind of makes everybody focus on Rashad Bateman, who's a good receiver in his own right. He's not Zay Flowers, so that's interesting. So now the tight ends, with Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews is going, and then of course the run game and that sort of thing is going to be. But that takes away a weapon now for them, and I think that makes this game a little more closer than it would normally be. Because I would normally, if Zay Flowers plays, I think they can win this game by a touchdown or 10 points. Because I think Baltimore probably has a better team than them, but taking away that dynamic from them kind of evens the playing field out a little bit, man. I don't know about this. This is going to be a good game. It's going to be inclement weather, probably snow on the ground, probably going to be about 15 degrees, probably going to be hard hitting, cold, brittle. Man, the Steelers lose this, they would have lost 5 games in a row. Damn, it's hard for me to think the Steelers can lose 5 games in a row, man. That's tough. Um, but Baltimore, man, they got their sights set on bigger things, and Mike Tomlin's not won a playoff game in a lot of years now, and as much as we love Lamar, only got 2 playoff wins, so this is big, man. This is big. This is big. And this is a team that Lamar does not necessarily play well against. Uh, I've been kicking this one around, man. The Zay Flowers injury, man, is giving me a lot of pause on this one. I'm gonna take the Ravens. Boy, this I think the margin's gonna be tight with no Zay Flowers. I think it's gonna be tight. Give me the Ravens. I was really tempted to take the Steelers on this one, but I'm gonna take the Ravens. But I'm not gonna be surprised if they're able to pull this off, man, because that kind of evens the playing field, man. That's just all I got. I'm gonna take the Ravens.
I'm taking the Ravens all day. every time. Um, MVP Jackson, soon to be 3-time. It's time, man. It's time. It's time to do what you know to do, what everybody's anticipating for you to be able to do is to just take that mantle, man, and take that next leap in his career. And it starts today. It starts in this moment at home. Smash mouth rivalry game.
Oh yeah.
A
Oh yeah.
team that you notoriously historically struggle with will beat them in this spot. Beat them in this spot. Get that big playoff win under your accomplishment bracket,
Yeah.
and get ready to potentially travel to Kansas City next week, um, and if not, travel to Buffalo.
Right.
So hey man, I just think this is kind of the year Lamar needs to put the accomplishments in the postseason with the amazing regular season accomplishments. And I do assume he's going to be crowned MVP soon. So you know, hey, MVP, you got to go get this one. You know, and looking forward, you got to go get the next one and the next one. He's become that tier of player now. So I think game got to match game, man. Game got to match game. So I think today starts the true journey for what his legacy is ultimately gonna turn into going forward. I think every season before now there was for people that's into making excuses or contextualizing things, it was fine. It was all fine before, but now I think as a 3-time MVP, man, it's time to go get the big one. It's time to go at least show that you're ready to be amongst that elite class of conversation. I think Lamar's up for it. I think the whole Baltimore Ravens team is up for the task. And today it starts. It starts tonight at 7. So I think the Ravens are going to win tonight, man. And I think they're going to try to establish that you know we here.
We here. We here. Yeah, I'm with you on that, man. Like I said, I just think it's that this is probably the team. If I'm the Baltimore Ravens, a team I'm less likely to want to face in the opening game of the playoffs. Team that knows what you had, the team that knows what you had for breakfast, where you went to dinner last night. They know everything about you. Ain't nothing you're gonna spring on them. It's gonna be all be about execution
Mm-hmm.
at this point. So uh we'll see, man. Like I said, that's gonna show me something because if Lamar can beat them, that's the team. If you look at this over his career, that's the team he's had the most, the most, problems with. Um, so we'll see what he's
Yeah.
able to accomplish. They never had a Derrick
Yes.
Henry with him to do this, so
Mm-hmm.
that might be an X factor. Number 22 might end up, that's going to be important. He get him if he gets 100 yards and a couple of touchdowns, that might be the thing that pushes him over the top in this game. And I don't know the extent of the injury with Zay Flowers, but it was enough for him to miss the opening round of the playoffs, so it has to be somewhat significant. So I don't know the extent of it. So, but
Go
anyhow,
get it. Go get it. Action Jackson, man. It's your time, man.
your
Go get
time.
it.
It's your time.
And
Uh,
please, please, please use them legs.
Use them legs when it comes to that. Right. Definitely. Todd Monken, you got a quarterback that can run it. Let him run sometime. That was the criticism. I was critical of Todd Monken in the playoff game against the Chiefs last year. I was like, dude, you got a quarterback that runs it better than anybody else. Why would you not allow him? You're the team that runs it. I think they were the leading team in the NFL running the football, and they chose to throw it 30 times. What are y'all doing? Todd Monken, stop over cuting the game. Call what you need to call. Use the advantages that you have. Okay. All right. He was calling out to Lamar. I'm talking to Todd Monken. Okay. Get the job done, buddy. Get the job done. Incidentally, Baltimore is favored by 9.5. I think that's a healthy spread right there. But okay. Incidentally, the first game, the Chargers were favored by 3. So moving on, we'll have the opening game on Sunday, noon on tomorrow on CBS. Hold on, let me get my stuff together here. All right, yeah. 12 noon, CBS, Paramount Plus. They got these streaming opportunities or whatever. You got the Buffalo Bills traveling to Orchard Park, New York, to take on the Buffalo Bills. The Denver Broncos taking on the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo is favored by 9. Um, this is going to be an interesting game because there was something they were talking about on NFL Network yesterday. They was talking about there's only, I think, like one team where a rookie quarterback has come in and won a playoff game against like a veteran playoff quarterback or whatever, or something to that effect. And so I think there was a time, I think they went back, I think Matt Ryan won his initial playoff game in '07, I think, against somebody. I can't remember who it was against, but they won. Was it? I have to go back and look at who that was against. But so you got Bo Nix traveling here as a rookie quarterback going into the Lions Den, if you will, at Orchard Park, New York, where the weather's going to be, what it's going to be. You know, it's snowing in here in southern Alabama, northern Alabama. What the heck you think it's doing in Orchard Park, New York? So, but Denver's no stranger to inclement weather, so that's not going to be a factor. What will be a factor is you got a rookie quarterback going into his first playoff game on the road against a favorite team and a team that a lot of people's pick to possibly go deep into the playoffs. Um, Here's the factors here. The factors here. Get back to the injury report here. Let's see. Let's see. Where's my injury report? She went away. Let's find this here. All right. So, interestingly enough, man, the Denver Broncos have one of the better defenses in the league. And they always say defense travels, you know. So we'll see what's happening here. You got Patrick Surtain, newly minted, probably the best cornerback in the league. The Denver Broncos led the NFL with like 55 sacks. So they're very good in that regard. I can't remember what the linebacker's name is that made the Pro Bowl also. So they've got a very formidable defense. I know that Sean Payton, is really guided Bo Nix, which I thought the league was going to be too fast for him. Things were going to be going too much for him, but he's kind of like, steadied him and allowed him to um, prosper in his first year and enough to get them into the playoffs. Um, Interesting. I mean, people are expecting a lot from the Buffalo Bills. It would be catastrophic, man, if the Bills would lose to an upstart team with a rookie quarterback that really hadn't made the playoffs in 9 years. Josh Allen's had probably his best season. He's probably the runner-up or to the MVP in the season he's had. I think he's thrown for 4,000 yards, about 30 touchdowns, about like 5 interceptions, ran for like 500 yards, like 11 touchdowns. And he's one of them guys. And it's like, yeah, hey, man, if it's not now, then when? Um, I got the upset. I got the Broncos winning this. Got to have an upset somewhere. Somebody's going to get upset. I got the Broncos upsetting them. Going in there with the defense that they're going to play, making this game a muck it up kind of game. They're going to maybe hit a pass or two to Marvin Mims and Cortland Sutton, who's one of my favorite underrepresented receivers in the league, number 14. It's not going to be a very popular pick. I'm gonna jump out on that limb. Nobody else has got this. Nobody else is picking them. I'm gonna pick them. You
I'm
heard it
sure.
here. Yes.
Oh no, I'm
Uncle Fred
sure there's people
exclusive.
picking them,
Uncle Fred exclusive. Nobody else is picking this. I got the Broncos winning, stunning the world. I shocked the world. I'm pretty. Yes, Muhammad Ali. Y'all don't know nothing about that. Uh, but I got the Broncos winning this in a colossal upset. Colossal upset. Now, either that or Buffalo wins by 30. One of the two. But I got the
Yeah, I don't think that because that defense is legit for Denver. I think it's more likely they cover the spread than win the game. I'm definitely going Buffalo here
of
in this.
course.
Uh, Josh Allen just got that ability to, you know,
Make something out of nothing. Make chicken
loosen
something
up,
out of chicken soup.
loosen up the tie,
Yeah.
rip open the shirt if necessary. Big S on chest. Josh Allen just has that ability, man, and I don't think Bo Nix does, at least not at
Oh
this
no,
point
you don't have
in
none of
his
that,
career.
man. You don't have none of that.
So, in a game where I think both defenses will see their fair share of success and getting the offense off the field, if we're coming down to which quarterback's will is going to overtake this game, I do think Sean Payton will have a great plan put together for Bo Nix.
Okay.
So in that vein, I do think it's a possibility this game remains close throughout the duration of it and at least give the Broncos a fighting chance. But overall, I think over the course of 4 quarters, Josh Allen just overwhelms them. And if necessary, like I said, loosen up the tie, rip open the shirt, and just go full Superman Josh Allen if necessary. So the Bills just from that alone, their upside in this game is just too great for Denver to overcome. When you got the guy who break glass in case of emergency, and we need to go hero here.
Yeah.
There's only one guy that can do that. So
Yeah.
it's involved in this matchup. So I'm going Buffalo, man. That's
I'm not mad at that pick because that's conventional wisdom. They are the better team. That's not nothing to be said about that. They are the better team. They have the better quarterback, and at the end of the day, everything, all he double hockey sticks and break loose, and everything could go haywire. This dude can like not get tackled for like 5 seconds and like find the guy, and then Patrick Surtain is covering him best he can, but he can't cover him for 8 seconds. I done seen that happen. I done seen that movie 1,000 times. It's like, yeah, they had it perfectly, yeah, but you can't cover the guy for 8 seconds. I don't care. Patrick Surtain, the best that there is in the league right now, in my opinion. He ain't gonna be able to cover. Let's say Shakir. Uh, he's not gonna be able to cover him for 8 seconds. Or if it's Kenyon Cole
well,
or Mari
the
Cooper,
thing.
he's not gonna be able to cover them for no 8 seconds.
I think their secondary as a whole is really strong. So it's
Yeah,
just about a matter of. I think it was way overstated, and by myself too. I'll admit that I was a part of the skeptics as far as it was way overstated um, what the Bills offense would look like without Stephon Diggs. I think they've proven more than proven now that the regular season is wrapped up and where they sit that acquiring Amari when they did and integrating him is just Josh has plenty of weaponry to depend on. The Bills do have a solid run game that includes him alongside James Cook and rookie Ray
Ray
Davis. They
Davis, yes.
they integrate guys in there and they move the power when they need to. Um, he has skill position tight ends that he can lean on in Kincaid and Dawson Knox. I just think across the board, as far as making you cover the entire field, he has the guys that can do that. And once he pushes those guys down the field and make you respect it, then that's when he turns into a nightmare and he tucks it and he goes himself. And
Yeah.
I think he's gonna have some success doing that. against this really solid unit for Denver, and he'll make the play when it's necessary to make the play. I trust him to do that more than I do Bo Nix. Um, and maybe long term, Bo Nix will prove that in his own right. It's just heading into this game in this setting with these stakes. There it is. There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't go against the proven commodities for not in this situation.
All right, man. So I was just testing it out. I'm gonna go ahead and play it. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it one more time. One more time. Give it to me one more time. All right, we fighting on that one, right? So, you said something there. Sean Payton's gonna have a plan. Josh Allen might be that right hook. It's like everybody has a plan until they get hit in the mouth, until he busts off a 40-yard run when you done covered everything else. You got a plan for everything. So I'm hoping they can keep that under wraps. For the most of the game, and maybe cause some frustration with some of the 3-and-outs and stuff that they're causing and whatnot. And that's kind of what I'm banking on. I don't not expecting Bo Nix to go out there and go 25 for 35 for 275 and 3 touchdowns. I ain't expecting that. Okay, I ain't expecting that, but I am expecting them to kind of frustrate them defensively, maybe even get a turnover here or there, and kind of make the game a certain way or whatever. That's kind of what I'm expecting to happen, or whatever. So we'll just see what happens. And like I said, it's always one upset in the thing. They never go according to script. It's always one dissenting in the thing. And I was like, well, okay, which one is? And I just picked that one. Okay. I was gonna pick the one last game, but I said, nah, I think Baltimore's gonna win that one. So I slipped it to this one just now, So we're gonna go with the Broncos. He's going with the Bills with our first fight of the day. All right, so that's all. So that leads us to our Sunday night game, 7 o'clock p.m. on NBC/Peacock. You got the Washington Commanders traveling to uh, Tampa, Florida, to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers are favored by 3. Tampa Bay is one of those teams, one of the sneaky teams that people feel like can get to the NFC Championship game. That's not Minnesota or Philadelphia or Detroit. It's like, hey, if it wasn't one of them teams, who would you pick? A lot of people are like, hey, a Tampa team got a little everything. Baker's a lot better than you think. You got a decent receiving core. You got Mike Evans. You got Bucky Irvin, and you got Rashad White. You got good enough on defense, and you ain't gonna run the ball with Vita Vey up there. You just not. You just not. You know, and you know they just might be good enough, And so you got the upstart Washington Commanders with, I'm sure probably that may be some contention to make Bo Nix the Rookie of the Year. I'm gonna go with Jordan Daniels. I'm gonna go with Daniels because I think what he was able to do with Washington, a team that won 4 or 5 games last year, to win 11, 12 games this year. I mean, come on, man. Come on. He's got, nice complement of weapons. He's got Austin Eckler, who's back, from the IR, fresh for the playoffs. You got Brian Robinson Jr. You got Scary Terry McLaurin. But the thing I'm gonna be looking for in this game, I'm gonna pull my TK card. I'm looking for that Mike Evans Lattimore matchup, cornerback wide receiver matchup. They showed some of the chronicles of some of their games they played when he was playing for the New Orleans Saints when the Saints played the Bucks. Boy, you talking about guys that don't like each other. Good gracious. Uh, yeah, and for the most part, Mike Evans has not fared that well against him when he's been covered by him exclusively. Now when he's been covered by other corners or when they're on switches on. He moved. He moved from one side to the other. He don't travel. They say he's got some success, but when that dude's locking him up, the Marshawn Lattimore is coming off of some injuries. He didn't play a lot down the stretch of the season after having been acquired from the Saints by the Commanders. That's a matchup you're gonna have to watch because, like I said, Mike Evans is a dude, one of my favorite receivers. He got size, he's got speed, he's got hands, he runs good routes, good teammate, does all the things you want. He's your perfect teammate. He does all the stuff you want. If you want to, build you a wide receiver, I was like, hey, that guy right there, that number 13, that's who I would build, my receiver to be like. Have all the stuff that you want. It's gonna be an interesting game, man. I guess I'm gonna take the Bucks. They're playing at home. I know a lot of popular pick is gonna be the Commanders because it's like they're the fun team. They got the fun offense. Jalen Daniels runs around a lot. If you don't account for him, he's gonna bust down the field for 45 yards and a first down. And then if that zone read concept. If you think he's got it, he don't got it. Brian Robinson's up the gut for 15. So there's a lot of things you got to worry with that. But I do know that Todd Bowles is one of the smarter defensive coordinators. He's actually a head coach, but he's a defensive minded coach. He's going to have them ready for all of those little principles. I'm gonna go with the Bucks, man. Playing at home, they're favored by 3. I think this will be an exciting game. Now they got beat. They played the second game of the season. I'd like to think the Commanders are a better team than that. Now I think it was like 37-21 or something like that. That they was able to win that game by. I think the Commanders are much better than they were then. But I see the Bucks winning that game in a very exciting game. But I got the Bucks.
All right, man. It is time to clash. Let's do it.
All right, I'm gonna hit it. I'm gonna hit it. Hit that thing. Hit it. Here we go.
Bam. All right.
We going Commanders. All right. All
Oh
right.
yeah.
Give me
Now,
your.
I don't think it's popular to pick Washington. I think most people would look at Tampa Bay playing at home, their offensive output potential, the fact that they could go point for point with Washington suggests Tampa's going to win. But I'm going to take the young upstart Washington Commanders, who added Jonathan Allen and Marshawn Lattimore back for this game. And I think Jaden Daniels is going to give us a vintage performance, man. I think Jaden Daniels is going to run around. He's going to move that pocket. He's going to stay away from Vita Vea. Get on the edges and open up, opportunities down the field. Um, Give me Washington, man. It's going to be. I think it's going to be one of the more fun games, and because I think it's going to be a little high scoring between the two. So I think both teams are going to see success in that regard. It'll be close down the stretch, and I say Jaden makes the plays that's necessary to make. Jaden's shown me a lot, man. Just so far, let me check to be sure because I hadn't done this yet, so I don't want to be speaking out of turn. But okay, yeah, just making sure he's good to go for this game in terms of his body. Um, yeah, man, I'm going Washington.
Okay. You going Washington? So I'm not gonna hit the bell again. I'm just gonna. I'm gonna pull up. I lost my tab for the injury report. I got it back up now. I got it back up now. So. Um, mm, 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 mm. Okay. Pull back here. Sunday. All right. Yeah, here we go. Did I miss a game? I missed a game. Did I miss a game? Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, I missed the game. We'll go back and get it. Yeah, Jamison Crowder. Nobody really. Cade Otton, tight end. That's kind of interesting. He's not out. He's just questionable. Antoine Winfield. That's kind of major. You kind of might need him. I think he's been out for quite a while though. Those are the notable injuries in that particular game, or whatever. So, but yeah, think I skipped right over a game, man. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking, man. I went from the Buffalo Bills, Denver Broncos, all the way to Washington and Tampa Bay, and skipped right over Philadelphia and Green Bay, which will be the 3 o'clock game on Fox. Let me get to that. Let me pull that up right here. Okay. All right. Yeah. I don't know what I was thinking, man. 3 o'clock on Fox. You got the Green Bay Packers kind of revisiting because it's funny because that's the first team they played, and one of these teams is going to be the first team they play, and it's going to be the last team they play. Okay, because it's one of the teams that is not coming out of this game. It's going one of them. So one of the teams is the Packers, or if it's the Eagles, the other team is going to be the first team they play and the last team they play. And so on the injury report, we know Jalen Hurts is coming back from a concussion he suffered in the Commanders game. Um, let's see here. Not really nobody with that game in terms of injuries. Green Bay. Let's see here. Christian Watson, we have no, he suffered an ACL. He's out. Probably gonna miss next year too. Zaire Zane Anderson. I'm sorry, safety out with a concussion. Andre Dillard, Brendan Cox. They're all questionable. I did not see Zaire Alexander on the injury report, so very interesting because you're gonna need that guy to cover either AJ or Devontae Smith. Okay, and so I think this game gonna be interesting because the Packers really sort of let me down Sunday because really I had picked the Bears, but really they kind of played that game to win the game against the Bears and didn't, and somehow tumbled down to the seventh spot, which made them have to go to Lincoln Financial Field, a team you probably didn't want to play in the first round of the playoffs. Um, yeah, you a couple of weeks ago you facing the Minnesota Vikings and you got a chance to win like 13 games this season and end up losing that game and the game the next week against the Bears and end up in the final playoff spot, which meaning you are facing the toughest of the playoff wild card division winners of the division winners. You get the toughest of the division winners. You get the Philadelphia Eagles. I think it's going to be an interesting game, man. I know that it's not on the injury report, but I did know that Jordan Love was having some issues with his elbow. I did hear some stuff about that. It's not on the injury report, but I was watching some stuff about that. They don't divulge everything, right? So this is going to be an interesting thing. And we know the Green Bay Packers going to want to like to run the football. They're going to run it with Josh Jacobs. And then they're gonna throw the ball to. I mean, now Christian Watson's out. They still got Romeo Dobbs. They got Dontarian Wicks and what's the other kid's name? It's three of them. They're all kind of on the same level. None of them are stars, but they're all just good contributors. That what's the other kid's name? Romeo
Jaden
Wick Hicks. Is it Jordan Hicks? Is it Hicks?
I know Jaden Reed. I'm not sure who you're talking
Reed.
about.
Reed. So you got Reed, Wicks, and Dobbs. Okay, and you got a good pair of tight ends with Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave. So you got a nice little. And the weather not going to be a thing. They playing freaking Lambeau. So you can't show them weather nothing that they're going to be intimidated by. Um, I think the Eagles are the better team. I just think top to bottom. It concerns me what condition Jalen is in. Because they don't run the same thing without him. But if he's like not completely whatever, because I mean I know, and he just cleared protocol like a couple of days ago. Um, this is gonna be an interesting game, man. I'm not. I can't. I'm not. I know the Eagles are favored by 5. And I got to make sure my anti-Eagle bias don't show up here. Uh, man, it could it be that the Packers did all that stuff, man, and being one and done in the playoffs and free fall all the way from all the way to being out of the playoffs the first day of the playoffs. Um, no, that's a tough one. That's a tough one for me to digest when you look at those sorts of things. And I know the Eagles. And I was looking at the reading from Athlon Sports. They got the Eagles winning the whole thing, winning this game, winning against the Lions, winning against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I don't know if I go that far. Uh, I'm gonna take the Packers, man.
There
They
it
probably.
is. You was setting it up. There it is.
I'm gonna take the Packers. They
Yeah.
played earlier in the season. I think if Jordan Love don't get hurt, they probably win that game over in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. Conventional wisdom says the Eagles are going to probably mop the floor with them, but I don't operate by conventional wisdom. Sometimes I think sometimes teams may have a way of doing things or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. I'm no. And I've also seen uh, the offensive coordinator of the Eagles nut up in playoff games too. I've seen that now, but you might argue that you can't nut this one up because you just hand the ball to Saquon, let him do what he do. You can't mess that up. Kellen Moore, couldn't think of his name. Yeah, uh, I'm gonna take the Packers, but Eagles are probably gonna win this game. But I'm picking the Packers.
Well, I'm picking the Eagles, man. But I mean, I am concerned about Jalen. Uh, not so much being in the protocol, but coming out of it weeks later and being in a situation where I do think he's going to have to use his legs in this game. So there's a hazard concern because the drop off would be too major if he's not able to go for any reason. If he's knocked out the game at any point in time, it's a major drop off with Pickett coming in behind him. So um, in that regard, I am concerned about the pick. But if Jalen's fine and he's in the game,
And he's
I,
Jalen.
yeah, I think they're fine. I think they win this game. I don't think they're going to mop the floor with the Packers. I don't think that. I think this is going to be a closer game than that. Um, both teams run the ball really well and try to establish the run.
Yeah,
Both teams are sporting running backs who they signed in the offseason. Guys who were outcasts from their former teams who ended up giving these teams their identities on offense this year. So I find that interesting. Um, so shout out to Saquon and Josh Jacobs in that regard. So I think it's gonna be a healthy dose of smash mouth from both sides. I think both sides are then trying to put it in the air, establish a run first, so they can go downfield. Um, I think Jordan Love definitely has a chance to have some success against a susceptible Eagles secondary, who at times they've leaked oil and at times they played better over the course of the season in the past few seasons. Um, but we know, they've had times when they can be had. So wouldn't be surprised if some of those young talented receivers in Green Bay find some openings tomorrow and have some success. So I don't think this is a runaway for Philly, but I do think they go ahead and take care of it at home. And just as long as Jalen's in one piece, for any reason that changes, then all of this goes to the wayside to me. So it's really just a matter of Jalen staying out there and being healthy enough to complete the game. And I think if that's the case, then Philly's going to walk away with a closer than some may think type of game.
yeah. Yeah, and like I said, I feel for the Packers having to play this game. Like, dude, you ended up with them. Like, but a couple of weeks ago, man, you were like, hey, you was up there, man. You like probably like what's the first play? What's the first wild card spot? What number 5? You was eating 5 all up. But you lost to the Vikings, then lost to the Bears down the stretch, and put yourself in the very last spot because people were saying they would probably play the Rams, and I'm like, that's kind of a game you kind of would kind of be. Yeah, I could see you beating them. Um, got the Eagles, and even though I'm picking them, that's not a good matchup for them. That's not. It's really not the best of matchups. So we'll see what happens. And then bringing up the rear on Monday night, man, on NBC, ESPN, and you got the Monday night game, the last Monday night game of the year. Obviously, because they're not gonna, after the game get pared down, you're not gonna have to have it on one on Monday night. So you got the Minnesota Vikings traveling not to LA, but to Glendale, Arizona, to take on the LA Rams. And of course, like the game was moved because of the fires and stuff in Los Angeles and stuff of that nature. So the game was moved. And like I said, you had the Vikings with 14 wins, 14-3, but having to play on the road, in which in the other division you'll be getting home field advantage throughout the playoffs, other than in the AFC West, obviously. But you be having home field advantage throughout all the playoffs anywhere else. But you the fifth seed in this playoff or whatever. So I think that's just weird right there. So they're going to uh, I'm kind of torn on this one too because everybody knows I like the Rams. I love their offense. I love Sean McVay. I love the creativity he plays with. I love his receiving core. I love his running back. I just love how they run their business. Um, they beat the Vikings. They beat the Vikings earlier this year on Monday Night Football. Okay, which is one of their first 2 losses. They only had that one, and they lost twice to Detroit. Um, it's gonna be interesting, man. The Rams. I mean, I like them. I think the Vikings have a better team, top to bottom. It's all a matter of whether if Sam Darnold can be shook up or not. I'm promising you, they saw what happened last Sunday. I promise you, they saw that. Oh, if we just mix that thing up, show him this thing, this play, show him this and totally different next play, he's gonna get confused and not process it quick enough, take a sack, or throw a lollipop and it get intercepted. He's going to do one of those things that will just kind of turn the heat on him a little bit. Rams are a smart team if they're not anything else. They figure that stuff out. I just can't see the Vikings losing another game though. Like I don't see it. I like the Rams. I really do. I really do. They're one of my teams, along with the Lions. I love to watch the play in the NFC, which I do usually don't fool with the NFC because I'm a Cowboy fan. The other NFC teams can go off, ride off the sunset. Um, but I like the Rams. And I like the Lions. I like how I like their whole approach and everything. So it's gonna bother me to pick against the Rams, but I guess I got to. I guess I'm gonna pick the Vikings to win this because I just think they got the better team, and I think somewhere along the line, Sam Darnold figures it out. I figure Brian Flores is one of them defensive coordinators that's gonna muddy the waters up for Matt Stafford and his corners, both um, Stephon Gilmore and Byron Murphy lock in on Puka and Cooper Cup, and I think the Vikings get the victory. Much to my chagrin, I'd be happy if the Rams lost it, won it, but I got to pick the Vikings. I got to pick it with this and not that. So I'm gonna go with the Vikes. I think the Vikes win this one.
I got the Rams. The
Wow.
Rams gonna win it. Um,
14-3 and out in day one. Wow.
I think Sean McVay
Okay.
is a guy that's not gonna flinch at nothing. Kevin McConnell and Brian Flores is cooking up. Um,
Mm.
Especially considering KOC comes from the McVay tree himself.
Mm. Of course.
I think it's anytime you get one of those understudy apprentice against the teacher type of environments. It makes for a different set of strategical challenge. Where it's
Yeah.
like I don't want to lose to my predecessor type of thing.
Yeah.
On top of that, I trust that Matthew Stafford is gonna make big plays in this game. You know, as good as
I
that
think so
Vikings
too.
defense is,
Yeah.
you know, as well as they put it together, which they have all year. And shout out to them and Brian Flores in that regard. I do think it's neutral site in Arizona, but you know, weather conditions are still ideal. And I just think the Rams are clicking at the right time right now, and they have a lot of explosive play potential. And what we saw last Sunday is that the Vikings have all of that potential as well, but there's times you can force Sam Darnold's hand, and you know now he's looking off guys that he needs to get involved. He never really established Jordan Addison in that game Sunday. I thought that was very strange. It was crucial to them losing the game.
Yeah.
So that type of putting that type of film on the table a week before for McVay to study, things are gonna be close. Things will be a good game, and I think the Rams are gonna do everything they can to keep Justin Jefferson at bay, same way Detroit did last week, and put the challenge and the onus on Sam Darnold again, back to back weeks. Can you establish the other weapons on the offense? Can you get them going? Can you get Jordan Addison going? Can you get Hawkinson going? Because if not, you're going home, and I think it probably ends up becoming that.
Man. Man.
So this is like a 27-23 Rams win to me. Um, with a potentiality to where the game's in the balance and Sam Darnold has a chance to go win it for the Vikings and may come up a little short on that end.
All right. So
So I got Rams. Yep. Clashing, man. I got
we
Rams.
clashing on that one. We clashing on that one. We clashing on that one. So okay. All right, man. So on that's the last game. We going. I'd like to pick the Rams, but I was like, nah. I didn't pick contrary to popular belief on two picks. I can't do it on three. I did it on the Broncos. I did it on the Packers. I'm gonna go chalk on this one. I'm gonna go Vikes. Um,
Not to mention, there's a small layer because if my picks hold, it wouldn't happen. But if all of the 2, 3, 4 manage to win their home games, then we'll get Matt and McVay in Ford Field next week, and I would love to see that. So
oh yeah. Oh yeah. 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 Um, yeah, I'd like to see that. I definitely would like to see that. You know, and everything. That'd be a good matchup. McVay and Matt Stafford going back to Detroit, which that's where their season ended last year in Detroit.
mm-hmm.
So that would be very 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 interesting there. So we'll see what happens there. So, all right, man. So that wraps up those games. Now I got on the thing here. We talked about it a little bit in our pre-show. The pre-show is sometimes better than the show. The stuff we talk about and some of the stuff that's going on and whatnot. We know that the national championship semifinals will play this past couple of days. We knew that Notre Dame prevailed over Penn State. They got an interception late by I can't think of the Penn State's quarterback late, and they was able to turn that into points, and they was able to win that one 27-24. If I'm not mistaken, that's what the score was, and a very very good game. That Notre Dame's quarterback, his name escapes me right now.
Riley Leonard.
Yeah, Riley Leonard. Yeah, played a gutsy game, man. Very gutsy. Played within himself. I think Jeremiah Love, the running back, did his thing. Had some nice timely runs, and they were able to win that. And so Notre Dame is in the national championship game, and James Franklin falls to 1-8 against top five teams. You know, hey man, what you gonna say, man? What you gonna say? Didn't get it done. It was a good game. Don't get me wrong, it was a good game. They didn't get outclassed. It was just he just came up a little short. So Notre Dame won, and of course last night, man, a lot of talk was about the Texas Ohio State game, which I thought we talked about that game a little bit too. Um, I felt like Texas could have maybe won this game. I felt like Quinn Ewers didn't play well, and I felt like Sark wasn't in his bag in this game as he usually is. I thought he called some plays that both when Ohio State turned the ball over in the third quarter, I think third quarter, early fourth quarter, I can't remember what it was, and I thought they could have took advantage of that, and they kind of called some conservative stuff and gave the ball right back to them. And then when they got inside the 2 yard line late in the game, I thought some of his play calling was suspect, and it led to them having a lost yards play, and it kind of like played into Ohio State's hands, and they end up getting a strip sack fumble to the house by Jack Sawyer. Ball game 28-14. Ohio State would set up a colossal national championship game on Monday the 20th of Ohio State versus Notre Dame. What are your thoughts, DK? We close this video. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I said last week, I would like to see Notre Dame and Ohio State if it worked out that way. So it did, and here we are. It was the most ideal matchup. I mean, I like it. Notre Dame as a really good team, really well coached, like what Freeman's doing with them.
Mm-hmm.
I think their defense presents a great challenge for that explosive Ohio State offense. Now, Texas did a really good job, really great job of taking Jeremiah Smith out the game. That's the all-world freshman receiver. So
Mm-hmm.
it would be interesting to see if Notre Dame can do the same. And but as we saw, even when you do so, there's still a lot of other guys who can contribute between Emeka Ubekwa, um,
Yeah.
my guy, his
Uh,
name is slipping me. I hate
Tate.
his
Tate.
name. Tate is pretty talented as well. So they've got guys, man, and they play both sides of the ball. So to me, it's going to be a nice, healthy clash. And as far as today, it's going to be easy to just pick Ohio State to win it, but maybe not. Maybe not. But I would have to go with Ohio State if I'm picking between the two. But I'm definitely interested in seeing what Coach Freeman can put together for those guys in Notre Dame. So I'm in a good spot, man, because I'm good either way.
Yeah.
Uh, Whoever wins this game, so I'm just watching for the love of the game. But I definitely recognize that Ohio State in the talent department just can be overwhelming, man. Just with all of the guys they have that they can throw at you. So uh, that ground and pound game can set up a lot over the top. And if you catch them on a day where they running the ball and they're finding Jeremiah Smith, I mean, it's going to be a long day for Notre Dame. So the challenge is there. It's the biggest stage, and
Yeah.
I got an uncle that's a real Ohio State fan, man. So I'm looking forward to
Who's that?
linking up with my uncle, man, and watching.
Oh yeah, yeah, man. Ohio. I'm gonna tell you something, man.
Yeah.
Your Uncle Rob, he win that daggum thing, he gonna be insufferable. He gonna be insufferable, man. I'm blocking
Yeah,
him on
yeah,
all
yeah.
social media platforms. I am blocking him if he Ohio State fool around and win that thing. I
Yeah,
ain't talking to
yeah,
him. He's insufferable, man.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, that receiver you were talking about, his name is Carnell Tate. He had
I
7 catches for 87 yards, had a lot of timely catches when they were bracketing Jeremiah Smith. Jeremiah Smith had 1 catch for 3 yards.
Yeah.
So, I would like to attribute that to John A. Barron, but it really wasn't. It was the bracket coverage and some of the safeties was helping over the top, and Gilbo and the other corners was kind of helping out on that, and they did a wonderful job. But of course, you can't cover everything. Somebody's always going to be left open if you make your life. And it's the job of the offensive coordinator and those that organize the offense. Oh, if they're taking this away, that leaves this open. You got to figure that out. And I will credit, even though I'm not a, I don't, I admit it, I don't like Ohio State at all. They were the least of the 4 teams. I'm like, I don't want Ohio State winning this thing, but I have to get credit where credit is due. They found where the weak spots were in the defense, and they took advantage of that, and that's what allowed them to win. They got the screen game going. That's how Henderson was able to get free on a 75-yard catch and run. There was some runs by the Howard that they weren't expecting on a fourth down. There was just a lot of little things that they were able to do. Shout out to Chip Kelly. He's the offensive coordinator of that Ohio State for doing what Sark wasn't able to do with his unit. So we're not going to pick the championship game because it's a week from Monday. We'll have another pick'em show next week, and we'll do that. But we just want to kind of like preface it and tell you how we felt about the semifinal games and leading up to that, because we watch football and we got opinions on all that stuff. So anyway, so it makes for a great Monday night game a week from Monday on the 20th at in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That's where it's gonna be, and for all the marbles. And like I said, it's gonna be a two storied programs, and it's gonna be good for college football. So
Yeah, for
all
sure.
right. All right, man. Picks are in. Preface the national championship game. Review the semifinals. Anything else, TK, you want to talk to the folks about before we close this thing and wrap this thing up?
Nah, man, y'all just enjoy the weekend like I am, and hopefully somewhere safe, man. It's a lot of different weather conditions around our country, so hopefully you somewhere tucked, man, and you in a good spot.
Yeah, let's hope and pray that, and hopefully, if you in one of them places like if they tell you to stay in, you stay in. Don't be out doing something and you could have been doing. You could have waited a few days and got that done, and you end up somewhere let's not do that, man. Do smart stuff. As we get through these severe weather and disaster things that's going on in our country. So let's continue to lift up those people who are going through those things too while we're doing that. So, and as I always say, man, this season is wrapping up, man. These games are getting fewer and fewer and fewer, and before long, completely close the book, and it'll be over with, and you'll be crying for 2025 season to kick off, and it'll be here soon enough. But enjoy your football Saturday, 2 games today, 3 tomorrow, 1 on Monday. Enjoy your football Sunday and your football Monday. And not only that, when you pick your games and put in the chat, put in the comments if you think we smoking crack on any of those and don't know what we talking about. We welcome that because dialogue is what makes this thing go around or whatever. So if you think Fred and TK don't know what they talking about, man, I'm gonna tell you, do that. All right. And like I said, enjoy your football Saturday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday and Monday. And we'll catch you guys on the next video, man. As I say, I always say, like, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you guys on the next video.